And why cannot anyone else so serve God and be taken alive to heaven? Thought Seriosha. Bad people, that is those Seriosha did not like, they might die, but the good might all be like Enoch. Well, what are the names of the patriarchs? Enoch, Enos. But you have said that already. This is bad, Seriosha, very bad. If you don't try to learn what is more necessary than anything for a Christian, said his father, getting up, whatever can interest you? I am displeased with you, and Pyotr Ignatych, this was the most important of his teachers, is displeased with you. I shall have to punish you. His father and his teacher were both displeased with Seriosha, and he certainly did learn his lessons very badly. But still it could not be said he was a stupid boy. On the contrary, he was far cleverer than the boys his teacher held up as examples to Seriosha. In his father's opinion, he did not want to learn what he was taught. In reality he could not learn that. He could not, because the claims of his own soul were more binding on him than those claims his father and his teacher made upon him. Those claims were in opposition, and he was in direct conflict with his education. He was 9 years old, he was a child, but he knew his own soul, it was precious to him, he guarded it as the eyelid guards the eye, and without the key of love he let no one into his soul. His teachers complained that he would not learn, while his soul was brimming over with thirst for knowledge. And he learned from Kapitonich, from his nurse, from Nadinka, from Vasily Lukich, but not from his teachers. The spring his father and his teachers reckoned upon to turn their mill wheels had long dried up at the source, but its waters did their work in another channel. His father punished Seriosha by not letting him go to see Nadinka, Lydia Ivanovna's niece, but this punishment turned out happily for Seriosha. Vasily Lukich was in a good humor, and showed him how to make windmills. The whole evening passed over this work and in dreaming how to make a windmill on which he could turn himself clutching at the sails or tying himself on and whirling round. Of his mother Seriosha did not think all the evening, but when he had gone to bed, he suddenly remembered her, and prayed in his own words that his mother tomorrow for his birthday might leave off hiding herself and come to him. Vasily Lukich, Do you know what I prayed for tonight extra besides the regular things? That you might learn your lessons better? No. Toys? No. You'll never guess. A splendid thing, but it's a secret. When it comes to pass, I'll tell you. Can't you guess? No, I can't guess. You tell me, said Vasily Lukitch with a smile, which was rare with him. Come, lie down, I'm putting out the candle. Without the candle I can see better what I see and what I prayed for. There. I was almost telling the secret, said Seriosha, laughing gaily. When the candle was taken away, Seriosha heard and felt his mother. She stood over him, and with loving eyes caressed him. But then came windmills, a knife, everything began to be mixed up, and he fell asleep. Chapter 28. On arriving in Petersburg, Vronsky and Anna stayed at one of the best hotels, Vronsky apart in a lower story, Anna above with her child, its nurse, and her maid, in a large suite of 4 rooms. On the day of his arrival, Vronsky went to his brother's. There he found his mother, who had come from Moscow on business. His mother and sister-in-law greeted him as usual. They asked him about his stay abroad, and talked of their common acquaintances, but did not let drop a single word in allusion to his connection with Anna. His brother came the next morning to see Vronsky, and of his own accord asked him about her, and Alexei Vronsky told him directly that he looked upon his connection with Madame Karenina as marriage, that he hoped to arrange a divorce, and then to marry her, and until then he considered her as much a wife as any other wife, and he begged him to tell their mother and his wife so. If the world disapproves, I don't care, said Vronsky, but if my relations want to be on terms of relationship with me, they will have to be on the same terms with my wife. The elder brother, who had always a respect for his younger brother's judgment, could not well tell whether he was right or not till the world had decided the question. For his part he had nothing against it, and with Alexei he went up to see Anna. Before his brother, as before everyone, Vronsky addressed Anna with a certain formality, treating her as he might a very intimate friend, but it was understood that his brother knew their real relations, and they talked about Anna's going to Vronsky's estate. In spite of all his social experience, Vronsky was, in consequence of the new position in which he was placed, laboring under a strange misapprehension. One would have thought he must have understood that society was closed for him and Anna, but now some vague ideas had sprung up in his brain that this was only the case in old-fashioned days, and that now with the rapidity of modern progress, he had unconsciously become by now a partisan of every sort of progress. The views of society had changed, and that the question whether they would be received in society was not a foregone conclusion. Of course, he thought, she would not be received at court, but intimate friends can and must look at it in the proper light. One may sit for several hours at a stretch with one's legs crossed in the same position, if one knows that there's nothing to prevent one's changing one's position, but if a man knows that he must remain sitting so with crossed legs, then cramps come on. The legs begin to twitch and to strain towards the spot to which one would like to draw them. This was what Vronsky was experiencing in regard to the world. Though at the bottom of his heart he knew that the world was shut on them, he put it to the test whether the world had not changed by now and would not receive them. But he very quickly perceived that though the world was open for him personally, it was closed for Anna. Just as in the game of cat and mouse, the hands raised for him were dropped to bar the way for Anna. One of the first ladies of Petersburg society whom Vronsky saw was his cousin Betsy. At last, she greeted him joyfully. "And Anna? How glad I am,"